could lead a dressing room into battle. He could find a pub that nobody else could find and take everybody in it and lead them there. And he'd still be the leader after 2 days of being in that pub. And it's the same on the pitch. So I was wanting to get led with people who knew what they were doing, who I could trust and feel safe. I felt safe in his company. And when I turned around, I looked forward and I seen him leading this out, I felt safe. With some of the tackles that put on people were he used to stand back and even at international, oh, did he just do that? There must be something wrong with this fella, because he doesn't seem to have any sort of remorse.
Hi, I'm Jeff Stelling, and this is Football's Greatest. Each week I'll be sitting down with a legend to discuss and debate some of the best exponents of the beautiful game. The players that got you off your seat, the hard men that made you wince, and the moments that will stay with you for life. Today's top 5 is all about greatest captains, the leaders who drove their teams on the pitch and kept them together inside the dressing room. Our guest today was a great captain himself, skippering Leeds United to promotion to the top flight in 1990, before leading them to the Division 1 title 2 years later. Welcome to Gordon Strachan. So Gordon, captains. How many teams did you captain?
2. I captained Man United once in a pre-season friendly because there was nobody else left, everybody was injured. But two really. 2 completely different outcomes. The first one is said that at Dundee I was 19 and wanted to be Billy Bremner. Failed miserably at being Billy Bremner. I become a poor Billy Bremner and I forgot about being me, really. And I've no idea how I got the captain's job. I think Tommy Gemmell had taken over. I played with Tommy on a couple of occasions. I don't know what Tommy's seen. Maybe the fact I trained hard, worked hard, bit of character about the dressing room. But I don't know how I got it. And as I said to you, it was an embarrassment, to be honest with you. Because what do you know at 19? Even in life, what do you know at 19? Yeah, you have to learn a lot more than that. And as I said to you, I was a good ambassador for the club on the training field and things like that. But off the training field, probably wasn't the best professional you've ever seen.
You went on to captain Scotland, there, didn't you?
So I did, aye. Yeah, I forgot about that. Well done. Yes, I did.
Which must make you massively proud.
That's fantastic, yeah. And again, that was that period when, just before that, at 32, then the world collapsed, as I said to you, that at Man United was when I got told that I was no longer wanted at the club. And I had to move on and kind of kickstart my career. And because I kickstarted my career, because of all these great people I worked with at Leeds, I ended up being the captain of Scotland, which was a bonus. You know, from a point where you think
big bonus.
When your career's finished, you become the captain of Scotland, and so that was wonderful. Yeah, to very proud, and I ended up being the manager as well. So that was good. But being captain was terrific. Leading out your country. Yeah.
Well, we're going to talk about some great captains in a moment, but.
Yeah. And
do you think the role of
me?
Do you think the role of captain has diminished over the years?
I don't think so. Because I worked with Scott Brown. I signed him at Celtic. He wasn't the captain then because I had a good captain, Steve McManus. Not the best footballer, but great captain. Asked questions, led training wise, everything like that, and he's never let you down. I had Neil Lennon as well, who was different completely. Neil, only really successful in chaos. He's the only man who lives his life in chaos but thinks that's normal. You love him, absolutely love him. And as I say, Scott Brown, he does everything by example. I even watched Kieran Tierney training with a t-shirt on in the winter and things like that. Come from Scott Brown. That was him saying nothing bothers me. So obviously, I mean, Scott, the captain at Scotland. It was, for instance, you know how players can mould a squad, drive a squad. I think we've got to play England, and some of the Championship players who were brought in the squad hadn't played for maybe 4 weeks. Premiership clubs in Scotland 3 weeks, somebody else 2 weeks, and Scott Brown had played in a cup final previous week with the Celtic players, and I don't know who were playing, probably Rangers, in a cup final. So we had to work at the fitness of the players. How do we work at the fitness? Because we're all at different levels here when we get them. So we agreed with the fitness coaches that the guys, obviously, at 4 weeks, will have to work more, do more. So the first training session, and this was probably 8 days after, maybe less than that, 8 days after Celtic played cup final. And the Celtic players had played a lot of games. So there was got to be a group that was got to do running in a certain amount, and a group that was got to do another certain amount. So we had this programme planned. And then Scott Brown seen us setting out this running. And so the first group was probably about 8 players who were got to do a really hard session, then a bit of session. So Scott Brown says, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm doing this. You've done it before at Celtic, this, and it's hard running, da. You have a day off." "No, I'm the captain." So he goes across, and as he's walking across Snodgrass, who'd maybe a couple of weeks, what's he doing? I says, "He's joining in. I don't know why he's joining in, but he's got to join in." "Right, I'm joining in." Christoph Berra comes across. "What's he that?" "Right, okay, he joins in." So he's got to do the full session. The time we were about to start, the whole squad were got to do the full session. And they decided that if they're doing it, we're doing it. Mm. So that's the power of a great captain. So, and that's the power of a great man. And that's what he is. He's not the most talented footballers, but he's a great man, great captain, and a great drive. Who got better and better as he got older. So that's what a captain can. He can set that tone for you.
I mean, that's real leadership, isn't it? Are there some people who you think struggle with captaincy? You ever thought, how is he captain? He's not managing it.
Yeah, I know how they feel. Yeah, if they ever want any advice on that. Yeah, we're back to that again, yeah. So I know how they feel. And it's maybe just know your time. Maybe you don't know enough. There's freaks of captaincy, like a Brian Robson, Tony Adams, who have got this inbuilt leader thing. Whether they want it or no, they've got it. John Terry was the same. Where they've got it from an early age, they've got it. I didn't have it. I need to learn the game. I need to learn people more. And I need to take life more serious. So when I found out I was okay. But there is freakish ones who can do it from an early age. But I think you need to know people first. Really know people.
Well, let's talk about some of the players that you picked. No particular order, but we'll start early doors with Willie Miller at Aberdeen. I think Sir Alex Ferguson once called him the best penalty box defender in the world. I mean, he was a hell of a player alongside Big Alec McLeish, wasn't he?
Willie was a wee bit older than us. Most of us were about 20, 21 when I met Willie, and Willie was a wee older, but more sophisticated. He wanted to be more sophisticated. It was hilarious because he would drink a glass of red wine, Chateau Neuf department, and we were just a lager, right? And Willie was a wee bit different. He always sat in the corner, him and his mates, but you couldn't not like him because he had this thing about him. He started off as a striker, Willie, and he played in the Highland League. That character building thing, he was all right at that. When he went to centre half, he was never injured, and if he was injured, he could shrug things aside. His mental strength was phenomenal. And he could stand up for the players, look after the players, dogmatic, and stand up to Sir Alex to a certain extent. Although they never clashed much, to be honest with you. But I thought he was just, he'd be one of the players that, and he's still dogmatic now. We have this Gothenburg get together every now and then with the celebrations last year. Willie's still the most dogmatic person. When we mostly agree on one thing, Willie's got, but, and he'll bring something, okay, and he'll...
Is he still the captain now when you get together?
Listen, I'll tell you what happens, and most people will tell you that we change shape. We get fatter, we go bald, we lose our teeth, we lose our kind of sanity at times. But when you get together, do you know the characters never change? It's still the same group of people starting that kind of hub of laughter. And it's still the same people on the receiving end of it. It's still the same people like John McMaster, who used to wear horrendous gear when he was a kid And he's still wearing horrendous gear now, no matter what he put on. So the characters never change. You know, they never. Alex still the same. Big Alex in the background, watching what's going on, quietly setting off arguments everywhere and moving somewhere else. Big Alex, you know. So it's amazing that the characters never. And Willie's never changed. He's still the same. You know, dogmatic. Keeps himself to himself, but when he says something, you kind of go, "Yeah, I've got that." Yeah, and you know, he's still got his strong way of thinking. So they never change. Willie's still the same.
Now, thanks for watching Football's Greatest on YouTube. But can I ask you please to hit that subscribe button? That way you won't miss any of our future episodes, and we have some great guests coming up on the show. Do you think in his playing days under Sir Alex, it was almost a case of, was Willie almost a mirror image of Sir Alex, but on the pitch?
No, he wasn't as brutal as Sir Alex. He would tell you in a different sort of way than Sir Alex. That Willie was the king. There's no doubt about it. And I didn't mind. I actually enjoyed being led by him. I think there's people who like to lead and people who want to get led. I can adapt. I was wanting to get led with people who knew what they were doing, who I could trust and feel safe. I felt safe in his company. And when I turned around, I looked forward and I seen him leading us out, I felt safe. I felt, I'm okay here. He's with us. I'm okay. He'll be, whatever happens, he'll be us with the end. So I felt safe in his company. It's a great, I never thought about it before. I did feel safe in Willie's company, being as a footballer, being in his team.
Do you think all the players felt that?
Aye. Yeah. He did annoy sometimes, which we all do, because he had his own way of thinking, all the rest of it. And it was great because he let the rest of the team go out, and he'd come out his cell to his own applause, which we thought was hilarious. But he'd come in, but all his motions were slow, Willie, and all that. And I remember one day was about, we'll wait. And we went into the boot room just at the side, and Willie thought he was going out in his own again. So Willie went out, and we all come out, run out behind him, getting the same sort of applause that normally Willie would get, you know. So, but yeah, no, I just think it was fantastic. And no matter who he played against, and I watched games over the COVID period, I watched games that I've never seen before, and then I realised how good he was. You know, no matter who it was you were playing against, he would do well. There was nobody that ever embarrassed him.
I mean, you think in that on the way to the Cup Winners' Cup success, you know, against Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, over two leg, didn't give him a kick, did he?
No. And
Rummenigge was
number one striker in the world at the time, one of the best in the world at the time. Him and Big Alec played against him. They were great, and no matter, as I said to you, no matter who they played against, they were never faced. In those days, you could actually, really intimidate people. Both of them could actually hurt you. But the thing is, when he got hurt, it never seemed to affect him. You know, and I remember against UPS Doza one night, we were 2-0 down for the first leg, which me and McGee got blamed for Sir Alex after the game. It's our fault, your fault, you've cost us club history, da. So we got battered. So we played the next leg against them, the quarter-final, and Mark scored a hat-trick. I made 2 of the goals. But Willie, if you look at when we were looking for a goal in the last minute in normal time, Willie's charging forward. He's at right wing in possession. He's driving people on. He's no scared of what might happen. He's only interested in winning. And he kind of drove us on then. Yeah.
I read somewhere that you said you'd run through a brick wall for him, which is like the ultimate accolade,
maybe
really.
No. I was taking it a bit too serious. I might go through maybe a carton box or something like that, but maybe not a brick wall. I might have looked like I've ran through a brick wall, but a cardboard box would be fine.
So let's compare Willie Miller with Brian Robson, who's another one of your picks. Were there similarities?
Yeah, but different characters off the pitch. Brian was probably the best player I played with. If you take away my international players like Ken Dalglish and things like that, and playing in select teams, world select teams and things like that, if you take regular, Brian was the best player I ever played. He could do anything. Anything. And he had it all. He was a good looking fella as well. He had the lot. Everybody liked him. Players loved him. He could lead a dressing room into battle. He could find a pub that nobody else could find and take everybody in it and lead them there. And he'd still be the leader after 2 days of being in that pub. And it's the same on the pitch. and he had a great way about him. He never had a bad word to say about anybody, really. He was just so determined that it was too far away for any of us to get near what he could do as a player and determination. And again, protected the players. And I've seen him, when Alec would kick off and Brian would go and defend the player he was having a go at. So I thank you very much, Brian. I thank you. I thank you. And I still see him now. And I think he could have played in any Man United team at any time. Anytime. And if you've not seen him, it's a shame because he could do everything.
Yeah. I mean, David Beckham, a quote from him, he said, what Bobby Charlton was to my father, Brian Robson was to me. Did he run the dressing room, or was it run by sort of mutual agreement?
No, there was strong characters. You know, Frank Staple and Kevin Moran, or clever boys as well. They were there. You had Gordon McQueen, who was the joker of the pack. So there's strong characters in there, but he was a way above everybody else. I mean, there's wonderful players in there, but he just had that magic. I can't define it. He just had that magic that everybody, and even the social side, he'd run that. Him and Denise would run that, make sure everybody was okay, the family's all right. As soon as I got to the club, he come and picked me up, him and Gordon McQueen, and took me for a night out, which was horrendous. I come back in the boot of the car. Leslie said, where's Gordon? And they opened the boot of the car and I was in there. First time I'd been drinking with anybody like that, shut the door. And I went, right, the new George Bester with. So, and I burnt my backside that night. I was that drunk. You know these iron bars you have in your bathroom? I fell on that and burnt my backside. I had a whole scar right up my backside. So that was going out with McQueen and Brian Robson.
Did you learn quickly? Not to do it again?
Absolutely. Never done that again. I learnt that I couldn't deal with them. I could appreciate them, love with them, go a couple of beers with them, and then get home because, you know, it'd make a mess of you. But they were freaks in nature, these two. Well, Brian in particular. Yeah.
And poor late lamented Gordon, what a great man he was.
Funniest man,
yeah,
seriously.
Fantastic.
I shared a room with him for a month and I had to say to the manager, you need to get me out of here. I can't sleep. It was just madness with a big fella, madness. But clever bloke as well, you know.
Yeah.
Really clever. He disguised his intelligence really well.
Do you think that in some ways, I mean, everybody talks about Brian Robson, you know, Captain Marvel, Captain Fantastic.
It was great. Listen, all you wanted to be at Man United was everybody's second favourite player.
Yeah.
Right? Because you got
after Brian.
You got to these supporters do. Used to have loads of them at Old Trafford. There'd be about 18 or 20 supporters doing the one night, or different rooms, and you'd go on and they'd just ask where's Brian Robson? When's Brian Robson coming? You've got me. This is it. I've no idea when Brian's coming. So you just wanted to be somebody's second favourite player at Man United at that time. If you were somebody's second favourite player, then you were delighted. Yeah.
I just think sometimes we forget what a great player he was because we look at what a great captain and character that he was, but actually he was a fantastic footballer.
Honestly, you could put him anywhere on the pitch and be a great player.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Next choice is interesting because you might surprise some people. Dion Dublin.
Yeah. Well, first of all, these two lads, they covered 12 years of my career. These two captains, Brian and Willie, 12 years of my career. So after that, you're looking to go, okay, right. And then you got to remember that I was player manager, and Dion was the captain there, and I liked him, an intelligent big fella who got better and better because he had intellect. Because some people who don't have intellect will stay the same player. But he had intellect to understand what his body could and couldn't do after a certain time. And he got it. And then when he got it, because of his intellect, he could talk to people around about him. He knew the game. So whatever was happening on the pitch, he had an idea. And also that when I first got the manager's job, I put him back to centre-half because he was having a torrid time. And he played in the middle of a three at the back and was excellent in there. And then we put him back to striker again, ended up getting an England cap, which was one of the best days of my life when Kevin Keegan phoned and says, I'm going to pick him for that. He said, do you want to tell him? I said, I really do want to tell him because I think this will be a great thing for him because I didn't think he'd ever, so I told him. So he was really emotional. And so it was a great thing of Kevin allowing me to tell him that he's going to be but he had that way with people, Dion. But he has that intellect to help people, and he really had a good way about him with people. Yeah.
Well, he's such an affable character, Dion. That, I'm guessing as a captain, he wasn't sort of shouter and baller.
No, everything was concise, and he understood what it was. He never, lost it as such when he was shouting and screaming. Even as a captain was all at Leeds, I kind of lost the track. What was I shouting about there? He was always like, I've always got this. I'm always under control. I'm always under control of what's happening.
Why did Coventry sell him in the end?
He wanted to go.
Villa, didn't they?
He wanted to go. I fell out with him because he didn't want to play in a game. So I can fall out with people and still be best of mates with him later on, because he got worried for a bit. No, I can see why he wanted to go, but the deal had to be right. He wanted to go at that moment. I said, well, okay, if that's what you're doing, but the deal has to be right for Coventry as well as you. Everybody has to do well at this deal. Aston Villa, Coventry and yourself. And I've got to find more players to bring in. So he couldn't understand it at the time. Went to Hull for a bit. And then I signed him again at Celtic. Because I'm no daft. I know where good people are. People, I keep hearing this thing, the manager doesn't like me. That's a cliche. That's an urban myth. Because we've all picked players that you wouldn't want at a dinner party, but you want them on the pitch with you. Seriously, there's a couple that have played, you go, no. But you make me a better player, a better manager, and you make them a better team, so you're playing. I mean, seriously. I asked Dion to come along again. He did the same thing at Celtic. Everybody at Celtic loved them, especially the young guys. He always had time for them and things like that, so it's fine.
I do hope you're enjoying the show. I just want to tell you that you can follow us at Football's Greatest Pod on Instagram, TikTok and Facebook. And search for Football's Greatest Pod to find us on X. So your fourth choice is Gary McAllister. Would you ask him along to a dinner party?
As long as he didn't have a drink. Yeah. He's been a mate of mine for a long time. We're best of mates now. And I love him. Absolutely love him. Again, I've had arguments with him. Matter of fact, Howard used to, if he's picking two teams, he used to put me and him against each other. That'd be my team against his team because he knew the intensity of this. Because both of us didn't want to get beat with each other. And it worked at training. And even running, he put us on opposite sides. But he was a wonderful, wonderful man who's had character blows that formed his character over the years. And again, clever. Got to Leeds, realised that he had to be fitter, he had to be stronger. And if you ask him now, he says if he didn't go to Leeds, he'd probably finished at 31. And he played at 37 with Liverpool and been the man of the match. Only because he was clever enough to understand, I need to get fitter, I need to be stronger. And because he got fitter and stronger, his ability, which was phenomenal, stayed longer. That's why you make players, and his concentration stayed longer. And that's why you make players fit, super fit, because it's not they've run about other places, so their concentration can stay. If their concentration stays, their passing and ability in the last 10, 15 minutes. He come into that group then, so he was intelligent enough to understand that he had to get fitter, and then he became this leader at training, leader on the training field. He thought he was leading the fashion stakes, but no, really. He would always come in with a label and go, have a look at this. I says, yes, it's a nice label, but you still look like crap. We still speak a lot now.
The one word that keeps recurring amongst all your choices as a captain is intelligence.
Yeah.
That's the key thing, is it?
It's a lot to do with being, no matter what you're working at. If you don't have a level of intelligence, then you're not going to get any better. And the data they show now, I was speaking to people, because we're working a bit with Burnley, and we're talking about they can jump, they can sprint together. I said, yeah, but what you've not got in there is character and mental strength and intelligence. I've said that to the academy coaches. How intelligent is he? Because if he's not got intelligence, I've known a lot of players who are good players, but they're the same at 21 as they were at 33 because they couldn't take information in. Gary McAllister was a far better player physically and the intelligence at 35 than he was at 21 because he could take things. Dion Dublin was the same. All these guys can take information in and make themselves better. There's some who can't.
Yeah, interesting cross-section, isn't it? Because I'm guessing that Gary McAllister as a captain was very different to Willie Miller, for instance.
Yeah, but I think the first two I'm talking about were just outstanding captains. They had this natural thing about them. No matter what business they went in, they'd be leaders in it. Gary had to work at his. He had to, because he wasn't good with people when he first got to Leeds. I mean, seriously, he wasn't good with people. Well, he had to be told that, listen, you can't speak to people like that, you know. And once he got that, he was fine. So we had to tell him that you can't speak to people like that.
How did he speak to people?
Well, I take them. He couldn't understand why everybody wasn't as gifted as him. And if you ever get him, you ask him about it, and once he realised that, he got it. And then the players started gravitating around him. At that point, they're going, really? No, we're not for this. But as I said to you, become this leader of men when he got understood that you can't speak to people like that. You can drive them on, but there's a way of speaking to people.
Mm. And of course, as you say, after Coventry, I think you got him to Coventry.
I took him to Coventry,
You took him to Coventry. Was it true the Big Ron didn't really want him?
No, Ron wanted him.
Oh, right, okay.
They couldn't believe we were going to get him. And now I could Brian Richardson. I said, but I think Gary wants to move on now.
Mm-hmm. So did you persuade him?
Yeah. I do it. So, FA, you can get me now if you feel like it. I was coaching players, but I'm not caring now. I'm past the stage of caring. But only because he's a good friend and he come along and he was great. He ended up being at Coventry, a fantastic success there, with a right good side. And I remember him coming in about April. He says, what about a new contract? I said, well, right, okay, but we've got to, because he was getting looked after. And he said to me, because I've got a chance, he was about 35 at the time. He says, I've got a chance to go to Liverpool. And I kind of went, aye, all right then. And I think, lunatic, he's never got to Liverpool. And he said, I said to the chairman, he says, you think he's got to Liverpool? Forget it, he's never got to. And he did.
Yeah.
And it's as I say, we were part of that by keeping him fit and making him stronger and all the rest of it. But I think he scored some ridiculous amount of goals, him and Robbie Keane that year. And he went there and he was a success again.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Brilliant
and it
career.
just shows you, if you really want to work at your fitness and work at your professionalism, you get it at the end of your career.
Yeah.
You know, at 37 being man in the match in a European final, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely glittering, brilliant career. We talked about intelligence. Your fifth captain, we're going to use the same word again, aren't we? Because it's Graeme Souness, who was driven, I think it's pretty fair to say.
Driven.
Ruthless. And intelligent for sure.
Oh, you've got that. I miss him on telly, actually. He found a great balance to it. He had this. He's got an aura about him. There's no doubt about that. But I timed it right. I come down to England. When I knew Graeme was leaving to go to Italy, I thought, right, I'll go down to England now because I'm reasonably safe. I thought, I'll time it right, because if you're under the seat, he was a solid man, you know. I mean, seriously solid. When he hit you, it was like that, you know, it just solid core strength, and everything at that time suited him. The pitches weren't that great. He had these strong legs that could go through the mud and play and still pass on it. He wasn't scared of anybody. I have no idea if he could last a game now, seriously, because some of the tackles he put on people were. He used to stand back and even at international, oh, did he just do that? There must be something wrong with this fella, because he doesn't seem to have any sort of remorse. You know, there's a guy lying about in agony and he just walked away from it. And at training, he was different. He didn't like anybody tackling or anything like that in the Scottish national training get together, which is fine. And we were chalk and cheese, Graeme. He was immaculate on everything he did. I mean, immaculate. And we shared a room for a World Cup somewhere. And honestly, he's putting his underpants on hangers. And I'm just coming in and chucking my gear on it. And he's looking at me going, what's up? And no, we're chalk and cheese. But only after a wee while did I understand him and what he was all about. And later on, they understand it. We were completely, I think we couldn't understand how we were different sort of players. And I thought you could play football this way. He thought he played this way. And he wanted everybody to be like him, and I wanted everybody to be like me. It's only after a wee while of mingling together do we understand, and it probably is, again, with intelligence of understand, everybody's not the same. You know, we're all different, but as long as we come together on the pitch for that cause, then that's fine.
I mean, he has I was going to say he had, but he has this sort of aura of
Yeah,
self-belief, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got about him. And you can tell him when he's on TV, when he really still got that anger about him when it comes to the punditry, which is great. We love it. We actually love it watching that on the punditry, when they actually start to get together and have a discussion. I'm just worrying about the modern day and age that we'll miss it on these discussions for whatever reason. I just love these discussions, and as I said, I got on really, really well with them now. But I found it hard to understand. You've got to remember that Sir Alex used to say in the international, I don't want you to be sitting beside the Liverpool players. I don't want you to be listening to what they're talking about. What he didn't want is anybody find out what wages they were on and what we were on. I don't want you sitting beside them with their big fur coats and all that. Right, okay. Well, look, so we used to meet the Scotland squad and go, hi. Hello. And you can see the Liverpool players going, they're a wee bit standoffish. Well, we're petrified in case he finds out we've been speaking to you.
Yeah. I think when I watch Graeme on TV and see him from time to time now, and I'm not even sure that I'm allowed to say this in this day and age, but what strikes me, and probably why one of the reasons he made a great captain, was that he's a man's man.
Yeah.
Are we still allowed to say that?
We are. There's only me and you sitting here. It might be different in Scotland now.
Yeah. You don't want to go there.
Come and get us.
You don't want to go there, Gordon.
Come and get us. No. Yeah. It's like it, but it's a woman can admire a woman for whatever reason, and what they do in life. So yeah, he was. He was really comfortable in men's company, and men like being in his company. I got him. Eventually, I got him, and it's why we look at it. I think most people look at the telly and go, I'd like to be him. I'd like to be him, because there's an honesty about him, and he'll never go behind your back. It's that type of thing you're talking about, isn't it? He'll never go behind your back. He'll tell you, you might not like it, and the good thing about him, he doesn't hold a grudge. I'll be fine in a couple of minutes. I've made my point, we move on. I think that's what we like about him.
We've reached the end of Football's Greatest. My thanks to Gordon Strachan for joining us today. Remember to subscribe to the show on YouTube and follow us on your favourite podcast platform. Football's Greatest is a Folding Pocket production with BBC Studios.